Stanford is entering a new era with Frank Reich on the sideline and Andrew Luck in the front office. Can the Cardinal finally turn the page? Or will Timmy Chang and Hawaii spoil the debut under the lights in Honolulu? I'm Nathan Johnston alongside Brad Hopkins. It's time to break the huddle. Brad, not the most anticipated matchup of the weekend, but man, is it going to be a fun one. Honolulu, Hawaii, can't get better in paradise than Honolulu. If you've never been, you got to go. I've been to Honolulu. I've been to Kona. It's beautiful, beautiful. Great people, great food, great atmosphere, and great weather. You can't beat it. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the storyline. Stanford's offseason drama. Troy Taylor out. Reich and Luck in. Big change at Stanford that I think a lot of people have forgotten about just because of everything else going on in college football. And then Hawaii seeking their first Power 4 win under head coach Chang. Give us your take on this initially, and what were your thoughts as these two teams head into week 0?
Well, I want to first off saying I wish Nate and I had media passes here for Break the Huddle for this one because we would love to be there. I'm honestly I'm excited for this one. I was texting with my dad. I'm going to be watching the games with my family this weekend. And I said, I don't care what it is. Football's back. I'm going to be in front of the TV watching this one. No, Nate, you mentioned it. A lot of changes at Stanford. Of course, we got the breaking news. I believe it was March. I mean, we were into spring practice.
I'm pretty sure we were filming an episode.
Absolutely. We were into practice when we got the Troy Taylor news, and I think everyone was shocked and comes to find out that, some stuff going on. Andrew Luck makes that change and rolls in his old head coach and Frank Reich. It's an interesting move, Nate. Just a quick point. I think this is an ongoing audition for him. If he shows some glimpses of, hey, this guy's okay at the college ranks, this may be his full-time job. That's a story for as the season progresses. But I'm excited. Very, very much a new look Stanford team. I don't know what to expect. I mean, looking at their roster, just so many unknowns. And we already know Stanford is obviously a tough place to recruit. Unbelievable academic, prestigious school, but it's a tough place to recruit because of that. Just a lot of unknowns, And then Hawaii, they have to get creative, of course, with their recruiting. They're playing in a makeshift stadium.
Right.
Did see, just a side note, excited for the Hawaii fans. I think they have a new stadium coming in a few years.
They do.
So congratulations to the Hawaii football program. But Nate, very, very intrigued because Stanford, of course, in the ACC, they need to show they're competitive this year, and there's just a lot of unknowns. And I'm also, just before I turn over to you, I'm interested to see how much we see Andrew Luck, how much he's put on TV Saturday night for this one. Also, just how much influence does he have over this program? I watched the YouTube special on Stanford football. He loves this university. He loves this program. He's got his handprint all over it.
Absolutely.
And especially as GM, which we've seen is a growing trend in college football. He's going to have a say-so in how this football program's run. So, like Nate said, not the most intriguing game, but there's a lot of storylines in this one.
Yeah, and you mentioned the audition for Frank Reich. I think it's an audition for Andrew Luck.
Absolutely.
I mean, here he is, a GM for Stanford. They're paying him good money from what I've been told. And listen, he went out and said, hey, I want this guy as my head coach. You asked how much does he have his hand involved. I think it's both hands. I think he truly said, I want Frank Reich. We're going to go get him. And that's what he did. Yes, he's an interim coach for the time being. But as much as this is an audition for Frank Reich, I think this is an audition for Andrew Luck as a GM.
Yeah.
Because if he comes out and loses a bunch, well, it's going to look bad on Andrew Luck if he's the guy calling the shots. Right. Let's look at the quarterback spotlight for a second. Stanford obviously bringing in Ben Goldbrinson from Oregon State, and then Hawaii has a steady quarterback, and I forget how to pronounce his name. I believe it's pronounced Alejandro. My apologies if I mispronounced that, but a young kid coming into his first start, I believe. If I'm right.
No, he played a little bit of mop-up duty, but sounds like this is going to be his potential first start.
Sure.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And then you look at their steady quarterback play versus defensive challenges. Hawaii has some challenges, some gaps to fill on the defensive side of the ball this year. I'd love to get your take on the quarterback position.
I mean, look, the reality is Stanford, Stanford had a really, really good quarterback, a guy that, is from right down the road from us, of course, Ashton Daniels, and he, of course, transfers out to Auburn, and so they're breaking a new quarterback. Nate, I'm intrigued on Saturday. We mentioned the Hawaii quarterback, but they also have on roster DeMarcus Davis, who transferred from UCLA, who was a pretty highly rated quarterback. I could see Timmy Chang and this Hawaii offensive staff play both these guys, find out what they have. And Nate, too, look, it's game one. You're going to be throwing out everything, especially like in a game like this. I know some bigger teams in week one, they're going to be holding stuff back. They're going to be vanilla. Hawaii's not. I don't even know.
They don't have a chance to.
That's a great point. They don't have a chance to. So I think Hawaii is going to be very, very creative. I personally think you're going to see both quarterbacks play. If one gets really, really hot, I think you're going to roll with them. But look, there's unknowns, especially Nate from Stanford, is what does Stanford's alignment look like? What personnel they have?
Sure.
Hawaii's going to be throwing a lot of different things at them just to put pressure and test them. So that's a big storyline for
it. Is. It's a huge storyline. Let's look at the stats and trends. Stanford 4-0 all time against Hawaii. Not good for Hawaii. Hawaii 0-6 versus Power 4 under Coach Chang. Does that play a role in this game? I mean, obviously, I always hate when people compare the past because you can't. It's a new year, new team, new staff. Regardless of who was there last year, it's completely different this year. Thoughts on those big stats?
I think the big takeaway that I have is, that number 0-6 under Timmy Chang. And I'm forgetting, I think this is either his third or fourth year as the head coach. And of course, this is his alma mater, but he's itching. He's going to be wanting that first win versus a Power 4. And a guy like that makes me want to root for the guy. Just, you know how much it's the same way with Andrew. Like, he loves the University of Hawaii. He loves the football program, especially he's the head coach. So, this is a dream job for him. That makes me pull for a guy like that.
Yeah, let's look at the betting lines, right? I mean, right now the spread is 2.5, -2.5 Hawaii.
Very close.
And like I said earlier with Rooster, shout out Rooster again, home field advantage gives you a 2 to 3 point swing. So basically what Vegas is saying in this game is it's dead even right now.
Yeah.
They're betting on Stanford having to travel, time zone differences, and home field advantage for Hawaii, regardless of the makeshift stadium or not. They're betting on that right now. And then when you look at the keys to watch, right? Stanford's offensive line versus Hawaii's speed. Stanford's going to be bigger than Hawaii. Right. I think no one doubts that. And then first game jitters for Coach Reich, coaching college ball. That plays a part in this too. You're on the road. It's your first game. Andrew Luck's going to be watching you on the sidelines. You know he's going to be there. I'm curious to over under, like you said, how many times they show Andrew Luck on the sidelines as much as they do showing Taylor Swift at the Kansas City Chiefs games because he's a celebrity.
Right.
He's an all-time great for Stanford. And to your point, he loves that university. Yeah. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will go even, a further point. Like I said, I watched the YouTube special on Stanford football. I think you could even see him with a headset on. I think he's probably going to have a little bit hand in coaching. At least coaching up the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be shown a lot. And Nate, just this is a side point, but this could be a model for teams saying, "Hey, the head coach doesn't directly answer the AD anymore. It's now the AD hires the GM, who then hires the coach." I mean, this is a very interesting trend. I'm interested to in December 2025, if we're starting to see more and more that it's GMs hired and then head coaches. I'm intrigued by this, but absolutely, this is I love your point. It's a big debut for Frank Reich, but it's a big debut. Did Andrew Luck make the right move?
I'm curious, too, your point on GM, and I don't want to get too far into it. I'm curious to see if some of these older coaches that are kind of tired of the new lay of the land, I'm curious if they decide to step up and say, "Hey, I'll be a GM." Yeah. We see that in the NBA sometimes. Right. We see head coaches become GMs. So I'm curious to see that. That is besides the point. For Saturday night's game, 7:30 p.m. kickoff at TC Ching Athletics Complex. You mentioned a makeshift stadium. Going to be exciting to watch that too.
Absolutely.
On CBS. Brad, who are you going to take in this matchup between Hawaii and Stanford?
I really, really want to pick Hawaii. if you haven't watched Hawaii, they run a very, very fun offense. Nate, they're gonna. I don't even know if they have a tight end on roster. I haven't looked. I don't even. I think they're going to be in 4 and 5 wide receiver sets most of the time. I mean, it's what Timmy Chang ran when he was Hawaii's quarterback. I want to pick Hawaii. I ultimately just think Frank Reich was a very, very successful NFL coach. I just think he's going to have Stanford ready. I think the big question mark to me is you mentioned the travel. That's an underrated aspect going out to Hawaii. And yes, Stanford's on the West Coast, but still
a 7-hour flight.
It's still a decent little flight out there to Honolulu. So many unknowns. Stanford's going to be, just breaking a lot of new faces. I think Stanford, I just think their depth, I'm putting depth in quotation marks because we don't know about it, but I think just their depth and their overall talent takes over. But Nate, it wouldn't surprise me if going midway, late fourth quarter, if Stanford scores a late touchdown to prevail. I think they win this one by less than 10 points. I think it's extremely close, but give me the Cardinal in this one.
Brad, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I'm going to take the Hawaii Warriors,
Okay.
the Rainbow Warriors. Listen, home field advantage. And to me, Stanford's lost more than Hawaii. Hawaii may be undersized. They may be out, out physical, whatever you want to say. But you know what? They got heart and they got cohesion.
Yeah.
That team has played together for a while. Timmy Chang's ready, man. He's ready to get that first Power 4 win. And, man, what an opportunity this is going to be. Week 0, no other game on except for you. And here we go.
Yeah.
7:30 kickoff. This is your chance, Hawaii. This is your chance. Go out there and prove me right. And give me the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors to win in week 0 versus the Stanford Cardinal to get an upset. Hawaii and Stanford fans, let us know down in the comments who you think is going to win this matchup. And be sure to subscribe down below for more college football. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, like I said, and turn on that bell notification so you can stay up to date when we post our latest content. We'll see you next week. It's time to break the huddle.